Hello everyone. Today we'll start our new topic, that is your indifference curve. It is under your unit 3, chapter 6. Let's first see what is the meaning of indifference curve. Now when we see the indifference curve, it shows a combination of two goods that gives equal satisfaction to the consumer. Now before I explain to you all the indifference curve's meaning, I'll just make a revision for you. Now what is satisfaction? Satisfaction is the utility, right? Now in the law of marginal utility, diminishing marginal utility, we were talking about only one goods, right? One goods, how much they give you satisfaction. But in case of indifference curve, we will see the combination of two goods that gives equal satisfaction to the consumer or to the buyer. The main meaning of this indifference curve is that we see the combination of two goods that gives equal satisfaction to the consumers or to the buyer. When the consumer are consuming the combination of two goods, remember the word combination of two goods, then it is always an indifference curve. When we talk about only one good and see the changes according to the price of the goods and how much satisfaction they are giving, it is called law of diminishing marginal utility. And when we talk about one good, how much they are giving satisfaction with the limited income of the person, it is called law of equimarginal utility. And when we see the combination of two goods which is giving equal satisfaction to the consumer, it is known as indifference curve. Okay, now since all the combination on an indifference curve give equal satisfaction to the consumer is indifferent among them. Now what is indifferent among them? Indifferent means there is no difference between the goods. When you are taking the combination of the two goods, you are not having any difference. You don't see any difference between the two goods. You are indifferent. You don't have any difference between the two goods. In other words, since all the combination provide same level of satisfaction to the consumer, they prefer equally and does not mind which combination he get. Now this will be the meaning of this indifference curve will be much clearer with the help of a diagram and with the help of a table to understand it better. Now see here, this is an indifference schedule. What is an indifference schedule? Schedule, whenever you are seeing, that is the tabular form of representing something. Tabular form. Okay. Now in this tabular form, indifference curve schedule, we are having in the first column the combination of the goods. Next is food and clothing. That is combination is your food and clothing. You are comparing two goods, that is your food and your clothing, and this is your marginal rate of substitution. Marginal rate of substitution is linked with the indifference curve. Now let's discuss this in detail. Now first combination is A. Now when we say A is the combination of what? Of food and clothing. That means one item of food and 12 items of clothing. When you are having these two combination, we are having the marginal rate of substitution. Remember, this is marginal. M stands for marginal, R stands for rate, and S stands for substitute. Marginal rate of substitution. You can write it down. Now, when you are having 1 unit of food and 12 units of clothing, the MRS is giving 12. Now, next combination, this is just a combination we are discussing, okay? Now, in the second combination B, we are having 2 units of food and 6 units of clothing. And MRS is 6. How we got 6? If we just multiply these two, we are not multiplying the food and the clothing. Remember that. We are just seeing the combination of these. Now, when we say 1 into 12, we are getting 12, right? The initial outlay of this is 12. First combination. Second combination is 2 items of food and 6 items of clothing. Now how we got this 6? We didn't get 6 by multiplying this. 6 into 2 is 12. No. We are getting 12 minus 6 is 6. Okay. This is marginal rate of substitution. That is 12 minus 6, we are getting 6. Now the third combination is C. In this third combination, 3 items of food and 4 items of clothing gives you 2 MRS, that is 6 minus 4 is 2. Next, the last combination is D, that is 4 item of food and 3 item of clothing. How you are getting 4 minus 3 is 1. So this is the combination which is giving you maximum satisfaction. Combination of goods which are giving you the maximum satisfaction is known as your indifference curve. You are getting one item of food. You can take it any food you like. Okay, let's take any item. Let's take it as orange. But when you are having one orange, you are getting the same satisfaction as buying of 12 clothes. 2 items of oranges giving you same satisfaction of buying 6 clothes. 3 items of oranges giving you the same satisfaction of buying 4 clothes. 4 items of oranges are giving you same satisfaction of buying 3 clothes. You are just indifferent. You cannot differentiate between these two goods because you want clothes as well as you want food also, right? So how much you are increasing the food item, that much clothing you are decreasing it, right? So these are the combination, various combination. If you are taking one item of food, your clothing is going to be 12, and when you are going for 2 item of food, then your clothing is going down. It is going down because we have to combine. As the one item is increasing, the other item have to be decreased. And what about the marginal rate of substitution? Marginal rate of substitution keeps on diminishing, keeps on going down. So this is the indifference schedule. Now if you see in the indifference curve, the same thing which was given as food and clothing, right? Now food, one item you can show it in the x-axis and one item you can show it in the y-axis. Now in the x-axis it is showing food, in the y-axis it is showing clothing. Now when you wear food, one item of food you want, and how much clothing you want for that? You want 12 clothing, right? So here you mark it as A, that is first combination. What is the first combination? One item of food and 12 items of clothing. Next is second item of food. How much clothing? 6 items of clothing. So this is the B. Now B is representing the second combination. Second combination of food and clothing. Now the third item of food, then how much clothing you need? 4 item of clothing you need. So 6 is the combination of both food and clothing. Now the last one, that is the fourth item of food. If you are there, how much you are needing the cloth? Around this much, somewhere in the middle here, and here you are getting the satisfaction. Okay, now this is the combination, the D is the combination of food and clothing. So when you see this combination A, B, C and D, and you make a line just by joining these points, you get IC. Now what is IC? IC is the indifference curve. So this diagram will be clearer to you if you refer the table. Now here the explanation of indifference curve is given to you. As I have already explained to you, but still you just see here an indifference curve IC, in short form we can write it as IC, is drawn by plotting the various combination of indifference schedule. So in the indifference schedule, how many combinations were there? There were 4 combinations, that is A, B, C and D. The quantity of food is measured on the x-axis as I have already explained, and the quantity of clothing is on the y-axis. As in indifference schedule, combination lying on an indifference curve will give the consumer same level of satisfaction. The same level of satisfaction, why they are saying? Because if you are getting one item of food, it is same as you are buying the 12 number of clothes, right? As you are increasing the consumption of food, your clothes level, buying the clothes is going down. So one is increasing and one is decreasing. So the level of satisfaction is same. Now what is indifference map? A set of indifference curves is called indifference map. Now set of indifference curves means not only one indifference curve, not only one diagram that shows a downward sloping curve of the combination of the goods, but there are many indifferent curves which makes the indifference map. Now what is indifference map? It is a set, or it is a collection of different indifference curves together in one diagram. Now what are the properties of indifference curve? Indifference curve's properties are very, very important. You need to know it very, very clearly. Now first, indifference curve slope downwards to the right. That is, the first property of indifference curve is what? Indifference curve slope downwards to the right, same as the demand curve which we have learned before. Indifference curve is sloping downward. Why it is sloping downward? When the amount of one good in combination is increased, the amount of other good is reduced. So here you can see, I have already told you in the previous slide. See here the combination. As the combination of the goods of one item is increasing, let's say the food is increasing, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, it is increasing, but the combination of this clothing is decreasing, right? One is increasing and one is decreasing. That's why it is saying that there is an inverse relation, right? So that's why the indifference curve is going down. See, this is the indifference curve, it is going down. Okay, now here first property is indifference curve slope downwards to the right. Why? Because the amount of other good is reduced with combination of amount of one good is increased and the amount of other good is reduced. Next property is indifference curves are always convex to the origin. Now convex to the origin means, let me go back again to the diagram. When you see this kind of diagram, when it is going this way, it is convex to the origin. This is origin. This, whenever you make a graph, whenever you are making a graph, x-axis is here, y-axis is here, and here we always put 0, right? This is known as origin. This is called the origin. Now, and when you see the diagram is going downwards like this way it is falling, then this way it is falling down, then it is convex to the origin. It is facing to the 0, right? It is going down like this, so it is convex to the origin. But when the diagram is something like this, upside, it is not going downside, but it is coming this way. It is coming this way, then it will be concave to the origin. Concave to the origin. But indifference curve is always convex to the origin. Now you can see it has been observed that as more and more of one commodity X is substituted for another, the consumer is willing to part with less and less of the commodity being substituted. This is called diminishing marginal rate of substitution. So this part is also very, very important to know what is marginal rate of substitution. Marginal rate of substitution is related with indifference curve when the indifference curve is convex to the origin. Convex to the origin means it is facing the origin, that is 0. Now when you see this combination of these goods, when food was less, cloth was more, right? When the food is increasing, again cloth is going down. When the food is increasing, again the cloth is going down. Again in the fourth one it is going up, food is going up, right? Food is increasing, and as the food is increasing, the clothing is decreasing. That's why it is convex to the origin, and this is also known as your diminishing marginal rate of substitution. This is the one, diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Now you are combining these two goods, right? When you prefer one item of food, 12 item of clothing, you are getting it. So you are sacrificing the goods for these two goods, and the marginal rate of substitution is diminishing, that is, it is decreasing. How it is decreasing? With this effect it is decreasing. 12, 12, it is here. 12 minus 6, 6. 6 minus 4, 2. 4 minus 3, 1. So this is diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Hope it is clear. Next property is indifference curves can never intersect each other. So now if you have many indifference curve. Now combination of many indifference curve is known as what? Indifference map. So those maps or different indifference curve can never intersect. That means they cannot cross each other in any way. No two indifference curve will intersect with each other, although it is not necessary that they are parallel to each other. So in indifference curve, they will never intersect with each other if you have more than one indifferent curves. The next one is a higher indifference curve represents a higher level of satisfaction than the lower indifference curve. Now let me go back again in the curve and see here. When you are having this indifference curve, one indifference curve, right? And suppose here we draw another one indifference curve here. We draw another indifference curve here. Then compared to this indifference curve will be higher, right? So when it is higher, then it is giving more higher satisfaction. Higher the indifference curve, higher is the indifference satisfaction. Okay, with one indifference curve it is difficult to understand, but if you make another 2-3 indifference curve like this up, not intersecting, that means not touching this and not cutting this curve, but separately you are making one indifference curve here, and when you see compared to this indifference curve, the other indifference curve will be higher, and as the indifference curve is higher, it will give higher satisfaction. Okay, so these are the properties of indifference curve, and these properties of indifference curve is very important for you to understand it. The most important thing here is your properties. You need to remember all these properties. Slope downward to the right. They are always convex to the origin. They can never intersect each other, and higher indifference curve represent higher level of satisfaction. So hope you have understood, and thank you.